Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Fan Reaction, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, following St Helens' 10-0 victory over the Castleford Tigers this afternoon at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Another 0 on the scoreboard, Kevin.
Yeah, pleasing defensively, isn't it? That's it. It's just, we just don't look like we're going to concede tries, and that might be down to Castleford's personnel as well today with the missing Jake Truman. But it's always pleasing to get the 0 on the board.
I think we discussed it in the preview show, didn't we? Do you know what? These preview shows are decent. We were discussing in the preview show about winning games, and winning comes before everything else. And if it's entertaining afterwards, so be it. But winning comes before everything else. It may not have been pretty at times today for like the neutral, but for maybe a rugby league purist, the defence outstanding once again. And we did what we needed to do against the Cass side, who made it really tough for us. And again, Cass, great side, but we did what we needed to do.
Yeah, that's it. I think if you're a neutral watching that, you're just waiting for that first mistake that leads to a try, whether it's a missed tackle or drop ball or whatever. And we had plenty of opportunities, I think. And don't get me wrong, it's not loads and loads and loads like we had against Leeds last week, but we had opportunities to put points on the board. Yeah, so listen, it's I think I said I'd take 14-0. And I wasn't far off on that, was I?
Are you disappointed only with 10 then, Kev?
What's that, sorry?
Are you disappointed only with 10?
Yeah, I'm disappointed with the 10. Backed us by 14 on the tipping comp that we do. But yeah, listen, it was just going to be little bits of errors that were going to kind of decide that game. Yeah, we've had close games against Cass in the past. Last season, obviously, was the 4-0 when Regan Gray scored the only try. I thought we were going to go through it with no tries at all. And I was a little bit perplexed by that.
That would have been only the second Super League game without a try. The last one being in 2007, I believe.
Well, I was a little bit perplexed when they had a man in the bin and we went for the second penalty, but I suppose it's scoreboard pressure as well. And ultimately, it was shown to be the right decision. It just, at the time, probably wouldn't have been the decision I'd have gone for.
Yeah, obviously, we went for 2 on a couple of occasions. The first time was in the first half with Tommy Makinson.
What do you call that? A squirrel grip? Making sure you've got all the nuts.
On first viewing, obviously, because Sky didn't show the replay straight away, so I rewound the tape, and you could only see it on the first angle, like the live in-game action, and it didn't look like much, and I tweeted it. And a few people then, obviously, after then seeing a replay later on, started getting on with us, saying, "What do you mean it's nothing?"
Yeah, listen, that's a bad one. To be fair, I think they said on Sky that it could be 8 or more games for the likes of that.
And do you know what? Tommy doesn't often make handling errors.
He doesn't know. You're right. Well, he didn't drop anything, did he?
Yeah. Did he grab him? You'd have to say he probably has, especially as Watts has then gone and complained about it. I don't know in the sentencing guidelines, and I'm sure somebody will be able to tell us when it goes to the disciplinary whether intention comes into it. Because has he intentionally gone to grab them? Probably not. He's probably gone to grab the leg or grab the shorts to try and either move himself up or try and milk a penalty by the man holding him down.
That's an unfortunate turn of phrase.
Has he just got it wrong?
Well, obviously, yeah. Obviously.
Listen, it can't have been that hard. Liam Watts carried on. But then Liam Watts does try and saw his own arm off with a chainsaw, so he's quite an hard man, isn't he?
Yeah, listen, it'll be decided in the week, won't it? But I wouldn't be surprised to see a lengthy ban for Makinson. Obviously he's got it wrong, but
if it's grade F, it's 8 games. Keith Hale did tweet us and say, "Who's tweeting today? Is it you, or is it me with your glasses on?" Yeah, okay. we just have to hope and pray that the disciplinary does what the disciplinary usually does and get things completely and utterly wrong. But we will see. He's not that sort of player, and it's genuine, but it's just.
He's done it now, though.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't help with the sky cameras being there, does it? Anyway, second half, we got a couple of penalties, but do you know what? I wasn't worried in the slightest at 2-0 or 4-0. I'm that enveloped in our defence. You think that, do you know what? We're not going to get breached. We just look that good defensively.
Yeah, there was a little worry, I think 20 minutes in, where I thought, is this going to go Warrington Cup final on us? That they're missing a key player in Jay Truman, and they're just going to play almost a containing game, try and make us come up from our half, frustrate us, start us throwing the ball about. And listen, we made mistakes. I think early on our kicking decisions or executions weren't too great. We definitely had a plan to target one wing, which is fine because then you're making them come out from their own half. But yeah, I had a little bit of a worry. But you're right. Defensively, we look that good that you kind of hope that there is that. Defensively, we're all right. We've got that extra gear that we can go through attacking wise. So if we had have conceded, you'd have still been kind of not hopeful. You'd still be thinking we can win this game. Even if we'd have been 6-4 down, you'd think we'll still get opportunities. And we, as I say, we did have them opportunities. It's just the ball didn't stick. The completion rate wasn't high, especially in the first half. We might have just made some wrong errors.
You have to say 6 points conceded in 240 minutes is probably one of Saints' best ever defensive returns in Super League. And considering those for the opposition were Catalan, Leeds and Castleford, I think that's an absolute outstanding effort. Talking about efforts, Alex Walmsley, I feel has gone up a step since he come back. He's punching massive holes early in the game, late in the game. And it was his efforts at the end, punching that hole and getting the offload, that led to the try that eventually sealed it through Theo Farge. And Alex Walmsley, unsung hero, maybe. We probably do sing his praises, but is he the best forward in Super League at this moment in time?
Oh, well, he's obviously up there, isn't he? That's it. It's amazing. The first pass from that was Graham offloading. And obviously we saw from last week, Alex Walmsley breaks through and gave it inside to Farge for Farge to go and score a try. But it's just having that after 70 odd minutes, having that presence of mind to make that right option. And after he's done all the work, as you say, punching holes in defences, to make the right option and give it to Lachlan Coote, who then gives it to Theo Farge in this instance. Yeah, it does put him up there. It puts him up there. And you can see why, I know he batted it off last week, you can see why NRL clubs would be interested in him, especially if he does put a step in his game. And he can do that consistently, because I don't know. He's always been a good player, and it's almost like since Luke Thompson's gone. I know it's only 3 games, but he's stepped up and he's leading that line, even with someone James Graham, who probably is the senior prop just due to age and his experience. He's almost gone, no, this is my forward pack, and I'm gonna take charge of it.
I know there will be some Cas fans watching this because they do tune in and usually tune in most weeks to listen to us. I thought they were really good today. I know they were nilled on the scoreboard, but I think I said in the preview show, they're a little bit like our kryptonite. And I know it's still early days, but if we do go on and finish top of the table, they're the side I wouldn't want to see sneak into 4th spot and have to play in a semi-final.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to give credit to Cass, haven't you? They hung in there. They were obviously hampered with no Jake Truman. But again, the effort that they put in, the defensive effort, and it's in the last 10 minutes or so that they crumbled. Yeah, you're right. Cass are that team who can and have turned us over in big games in semi-finals, and kind of had a little bit of a hex over us. And you know what? They still threw it about as well. they were still trying to go out wide. They weren't just trying to put it up the middle and just put it through the big men. And credit to them, that's how they play. That's their style. And yeah, that's it. That's what kind of made the game a little bit better. It wasn't a turgid game. There were opportunities for both teams, and because of the nature that Cass do play a little bit of the Harlem Globetrotters style, while we were comfortable, well, in our own minds we were comfortable, you just couldn't discount them scoring.
I say that about Cass being our kryptonite, but it is 30 years since they've won in St Helens. But records will have to end.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just turn around and put it back to, well, it's been 30 years since they've won at Saints. It's a one-off game. If you get them in a semi-final, they'll be up for it. Danny Richardson will come back with a point to prove. Probably raise his game. They've got enough good players. I think Gareth O'Brien is a great signing for him as well. Just brings that solidity at the back, a bit of experience as well. And as they did towards the end of the game, they tried moving him into 6 just to give him a little bit more. He gives them that option, and that'll only get better as he plays more and more in that team.
I will bring us to some of the tweets, but just before I do, we are currently top of the table. If Leeds beat Wigan, we probably stay top. I know Mark Percival's got injured today, and probably a little bit of a recurrence of his hamstring injury, so he'll need a week off probably anyway. I'm just wondering what you're thinking about the week off next week now. Does it come at the right or the wrong time for us?
It probably comes at a good time for us. I mean, there's no saying we will have a week off because you never know what happens. I mean, we should have been talking about Wakefield here. A week's a long time in rugby league, so it could all end up changing. But if it is a week off for us, it might come at the right time. I don't think Percival's just going to have a week out. He'll probably have a couple to rest that hamstring. But it just lets us take stock after having 2 massive wins and then 1 hard-fought one. I think it just gives us a little bit of time to have a bit of a breather and kind of rest some bodies up for a week.
Okay, some of the tweets that came in for the fan reaction at full time. Steve, that's why we're champions. Pablo, only conceding 1 try in 3 games, phenomenal defensive work. Scotty agreeing, defence is incredible. Again, it seems to be all defence, this, doesn't it, John Lewis?
Yeah.
Defence is something else. But again, we're never only undersold, are we?
No, very good.
Very good. Keith Hale telling me it was 10-0. I know.
Well, that's not Keith. That's Wendy. So just offend both of them while you're at it.
Do they share an account with WK Hale? I thought it was Keith. Sorry, Wendy.
No.
Sorry, Wendy.
KH is Keith.
But yes, Wendy, you can count and I cannot. Andy Humphreys, majestic and outstanding, but can we also note the 0 next to the name of Cass and the 0 next to Leeds? Champions doing champion things. As we move on, Paul Bennett again saying Bentley yet again superb. He's like a young Jason Hooper.
Yeah, we needed his versatility when Percy went off, and we didn't really lose that much in moving him to centre because he's a hard worker, and the game kind of suited him, I'd say. If
Makinson gets a ban, how do we reorganise?
Well, you could probably slot Bentley in and put Nagama on the wing. Failing that, this is where your Matty Costellos, your Josh Sims might get some game time.
For me, if it is worse comes to worse and it's an 8-game ban, I think you need to go with a winger.
A proper winger. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Give them a go, but we will see. Okay.
Or do you stick Nagama because he's played on the wing and give a centre a go for 8 games?
Yeah, Costello inside of Nagama maybe.
Or Sim inside of Nagama, could be anybody like that.
George Duffy, conceding 1 try in 240 minutes, better than any blowout score. Brendan Neary talking about defence as well. Big D wins it for the Saints from Big Phil Leavesley, but we were sloppy in attack and Cass defended well. Execution maybe not there, but then are we just basing it on last week a little bit, how good we were?
Possibly, and when he says Big D, I thought we'd moved off the Tommy Makinson, Liam Watts moment.
If it was a big D, Liam Watts would have been rolling around the floor, wouldn't he? Anyway,
you can tell him that.
He thought the performance was outstanding. Duke Silva, Carlos Alberto, was about to slate Farge because he still thinks Lomax and Farge struggle to unlock tight defences. He wants to see Dog given a go, but will not be too harsh given we were playing a different team 3 days ago. I still think it's harsh on Farge and Lomax. I think that debate should have been put to bed last season. I know Dodd does need game time, but can you imagine if we put Lewis Dodd into that team today and we'd have got beat? And people
there'd have been yeah, that's it. There'd have been people asking questions of the coaching staff there. As we keep saying, Dodd will get his chance. So I won't worry about it. I mean, I'd said some of our kick decisions early, and I think Theo Farge can be included in that, weren't great. But then we got to be able to play the percentage kicks and keep them down in the kind of 20-metre area.
Charlton Saint giving some praise to Cass.
He's a great support player.
Charlton Saint giving praise to Cass, brilliant in defence, but 2 consecutive games with fat errors against us is great from us, playing like champions. Andreas saying we were superb in defence, but thought Jammer had a big game. Also, match like that keeps the feet firm planted on the ground. Yeah, I was thinking that during the game. I agree. We needed a game like that. We don't need blowout scores every week. We need to have games where we tough it out. I'm sure the players might not agree, or the coach might not agree. But you need to be able to win in completely different circumstances.
I don't necessarily think that the coach will disagree, because it just shows a different type of winning. And it gets you used to, you're not going to have blowout scores, you're going to have attritional games, you're going to have tough games, and finding a way to win. And whether that's keeping your head with the composure of scoring inside the last 5 minutes, as compared to scoring long-range tries because nobody can lay a hand on your winger. I think it's good for us. Yeah,
when I say Wolf will disagree, I think in terms of how much he probably took out of us, I think we'd rather have it a little bit easier, even though we won it tough, but we win either way. The Saints, glad to win, keep them to 0 and have a well-earned week off next week. And then the last tweet, Kev, John Metcalf, again, quality defence, and we may need to find a right winger for 8 matches. Sarah with another clean sheet for the champions. And our good friend Peter Elder sneaking in at the final hooter. It was a tough 80 minutes. Fair play to Cass with the defence throughout. But Saints' defence was even better. Not fluent in attack and more errors than normal. But the boys stuck it out and won a great 2 points. That is the most eloquent thing I've ever seen Peter Elder tweet.
Fair enough. No, he's got a good point though, because there were errors in the 2 points is the most important thing. So yeah, Peter's right.
Guitar Kevin.
Yep.
What are we playing?
So You Win Again, I think, is a good one.
I'm going to be good.
I was going to say, this is taking too long for you to think of one there.
Goodness gracious.
No.
Great balls of fire. Right, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let us know your views in the comments, and plenty to talk about. And will we catch you in the week? We'll do something next week. I'm sure we might do a Q&A. We'll do something because we don't really need to move out the house to the Zoom talks now. Right, Kev, thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
We'll have a good week off, hopefully, unless somebody comes back COVID positive and we end up playing next week. Catch you soon.